in the end, after everything, after all the years and months of negotiations?
I think the first thing was that the courage and tenacity of the women had really just grasped the attention of the world, that this is something that we need to pay attention to. Before, the media reportage of Liberia was just about fighters and armed men and boys. When we step into the space, we changed the dynamics of the report and brought the version of the women and children who were the greatest victim of everything that was happening. And when we challenged the men at the peace table, at the peace talks that day, we also challenged the international community, because they were providing protection for these people. They were providing funding. They were providing like good life and everything. After that, some of the immunities that were being provided for them, because they were at the peace table, they cut it down. And so because they didn't have the kind of high incentives that kept them complacent, they had to sign a peace agreement. So many things were in place there. Yeah.
What do Liberian men say to your movement?
Well, a lot of the men in different communities are appreciative of the work that the women have done. Most of the time, and even when we went to elections in 2005, some of the biggest supporters of President Sirleaf were men who were quoting our movement as a basis for them supporting her.
Is it because of your movement that somehow you got the first female president in Africa?
I would think so. I would think that contributed largely, because women had been working from the inception of the conflict up to that point. And when it got to the second round, President Sirleaf and a famous footballer, a lot of the women decided, wow, this is the time for us to try. And we just banded together. But even before then, when we were doing voters registration, there were 50 plus one more women that registered to vote for the first time in Liberia than men. So we had more women registered than men in 2005.
Charles Taylor just got convicted by the special court set up by the United Nations. Is that justice done for you?
Well, like I said to a group of people, I think it is a spillover of justice, because he's been convicted for crimes in Sierra Leone. But I think Liberians can breathe easily now, that at least he's paying for some of the things that he did, not just in Sierra Leone, but also in Liberia. On the question of justice, I will ask again, what is the definition of justice? Taylor has been convicted, he's gone to prison. A kind of justice has been served. What happens to those who, because of his actions, are amputees and cannot fend for themselves? Can we fulfill the other part of justice by providing some form of reparation for them so that their lives are better?
In 2004, you decided to go back to school in the US. Why did you decide to go back to the books when actually what you have gone through in life, your real life experiences, are much more valuable, I guess? You
know, the field of peace and conflict transformation is a field dominated by men. And I knew that this is where I wanted to be. This is where I was called to be. And this is where I was going to stay. And I didn't want anyone to judge me or the work that I did on the basis that she has no paper.
So you're now the executive director of Women, Peace and Security Network Africa.
Yes.
What does it do?
We continue to do work around activism, the same kind of work I did in the past, but also we now work with security sector, like the police and military in different countries, looking at the relationship of the sector with the women in the sector, and looking at the relationship of the women in the sector with women in the community. We also do a lot of work around young people, young women, and leadership, because we realize that our field of women's rights activism is basically shrinking, because a lot of the young girls now want to be either Beyonce or Shakira or something. They want to be in glamorous field. Not many of them want to be peace activists or peace builder or be in a humanitarian field, because also it doesn't offer a lot of money. So we're trying to build young women, mentor young women who we believe can also help to provide some of the changes that the world needs.
What would you tell women in other conflict zones?
Well, I have this one thing that I've really become one of the sayings that I like. You know, most times we sit when something is happening in our lives and say, oh, change is going to come. Hope is going to come. Someone's going to come. And if you're sitting in a conflict context and thinking, wow, one day we're going to get a Mandela, a Gandhi, a King, a Desmond Tutu, you're wasting your time, because you can be your own Mandela, your own King, your own Gandhi, and your own Tutu, because you are the only one who understands what your priorities, needs, and concerns are.
And for women in general, what would you tell them about their potential and what they can do?
Well, sometimes it takes a lot. You just need to tap into yourself, dig deeper, really, really dig deep to find what your true sense of purpose is. And once you find it, don't stop. Don't listen to the word. Follow your passion, follow your heart, and you will achieve what you want to achieve. That's, for me, the greatest thing for any woman, to find herself and find what she's been purposed to do.
Leymah Gbowee is another woman on the world stage who clearly demonstrated that women can play a role in building peace and security in a country. As for Liberia, hopefully it will be on a permanent path of peace and prosperity. See you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ